You've heard this before. Cavemen died at 30, and life was short and brutal. Get a splinter in the wrong spot, and that's it. Game over before your 25th birthday. This idea is everywhere in textbooks, documentaries, and casual talk, and it's almost completely wrong. So how long did ancient humans really live? The real answer is stranger than you think and more hopeful too. Let's find out where this myth came from. In 1961, a French scientist named Henri Valois looked at a pile of old skeletons. He said almost none of these people lived past 40, and living to 50 was rare. For decades, everyone believed him, and every textbook repeated it. But there was a mistake hiding in his numbers, and nobody caught it for almost 50 years. To see the mistake, we need to look at the bones themselves. In 2004, two scientists named Rachel Kaspari and Sang-Hee Lee studied this question and published their work in a journal called PNAS. They looked at over 750 fossil teeth and jaws, spanning almost 3 million years of human history. They sorted each one into two groups, younger adult or older adult. What did they find? Older people existed at every point in our history. But something big happened around 30,000 years ago, when the number of older adults suddenly jumped. It quadrupled almost overnight in evolution terms, and for the first time, grandparents outnumbered young adults. This wasn't a slow change, it was a turning point. Kaspari and Lee said this changed human culture forever, because more elders meant more knowledge passed down. But here's the interesting part. Even before that jump, people weren't dying at 30, like the myth says. So where did that number come from? It comes from a math trap, and once you see it, you can't unsee it. In 2007, two anthropologists named Michael Gervin and Hillard Kaplan ran the biggest study of its kind. They looked at real death records from dozens of hunter-gatherer groups around the world, and their answer was clear. They found a natural human lifespan of 68 to 78 years and said this directly disproved Valois. So how did Valois get it so wrong? The answer is childhood deaths. Gervin and Kaplan found that young children died at rates up to 100 times higher than in modern countries, from disease, infection, and accidents. Most deaths happened before age 15, and all those early deaths pull the average way down. But an average is not the same as a lifespan. If you survived childhood, your odds looked a lot like a modern person's, with a real shot at 60, 70, even 80. People who say ancient humans died at 30 are using a real number. They're just using the wrong one. This wasn't just one study either. In 2007, three more researchers, Kim Hill, Ana Magdalena Hurtado, and Robert Walker, studied a group called the Hiwi in Venezuela. Their work appeared in the Journal of Human Evolution, and they found the exact same pattern. Childhood was brutal and dangerous, but adults who made it past their teenage years often lived for decades more. Think about what this means. Two groups on two different continents, separated by oceans and thousands of years, show the exact same shape. Kids died at terrible rates, but adults who survived lived almost as long as your own grandmother. That's not a coincidence. It's written into our biology. It didn't matter if you lived on a savanna, in a rainforest, or by the coast. The math of human aging stayed the same. Danger came early. After that, the body was built to keep going for a long time. So if people were living into their 60s and 70s, what were all these old people doing? This question matters more than you'd think, because it connects directly to why you exist at all. In 1998, a scientist named Kristen Hawkes published a famous paper in PNAS, proposing what's now called the grandmother hypothesis. Human women are strange among animals, because they live for decades after they stop having children. No other great ape does this. Hawkes had spent years studying the Hadza people of Tanzania and published that fieldwork in 1997. She found something simple but powerful. Older women who could no longer have babies spent their days gathering food for their grandchildren, which let their daughters have more children sooner. In other words, evolution rewarded women who lived long past menopause, because a living grandmother meant more surviving grandchildren. Long life wasn't an accident, it was selected for generation after generation. Old age isn't something modern medicine invented, it's ancient, and it's baked into why humans exist the way we do. Now here's a twist that makes this whole story even stranger. This wasn't true for every branch of the human family. A scientist named Eric Trinkhaus studied Neanderthal bones in 1995, and his work appeared in the Journal of Archaeological Science. He found something different. Young Neanderthal adults died at very high rates. These were people who should have been in the prime of their lives. Life for Neanderthals looks shorter and more violent than it was for the modern humans who replaced them. Some scientists think this difference mattered. More surviving elders meant more shared knowledge and more support for the young. This may be one small piece of why our species spread across the whole planet while others did not. So what's the real number? Context matters here because life expectancy still swings wildly today. The same 2007 study by Gervin and Kaplan pointed to United Nations data. Around the year 2000, average life expectancy across the world was 66 years, but it ranged from just 39 years in Zambia to 82 years in Japan. That's a 43-year gap on one planet in one decade. If life expectancy can swing that much today, why would we expect one flat number for the last 300,000 years of human history? We shouldn't. So what if the real story isn't ancient humans died young? What if the real story is that they died unevenly, brutally in childhood, and then, if they made it past that, often lived long enough to become storytellers, tool makers, and grandparents? What if living to 70 wasn't rare, but the plan all along? Your body still carries proof of this today. Women's bodies are still built for decades of life after they stop having children, a gift almost no other primate gets. It's passed down from ancestors who lived long enough to help raise their grandchildren. Your brain still holds a deep respect for older people, and that's not just good manners. It's an echo of 30,000 years of grandparents teaching the young which plants were safe to eat, where to find water, how to survive a hard winter. The instinct to listen to the oldest person in the room isn't sentimental. It's the payoff from exactly the shift that Kaspari and Lee found buried in old bones. We grew up believing a myth. It made our ancestors sound weak and doomed, dying in their 20s, never knowing what a full life felt like. The truth is almost the opposite. Say you made it past the danger of childhood. The world was patient enough to let you keep going, and your body was strong enough too. It could carry you for 6, 7, even 8 decades. This changes how you should hear the words life expectancy from now on, whether it's about a Stone Age campsite or a headline on the news today. A low average doesn't mean nobody made it far. Often it just means childhood was the danger, not old age. Think of the grandmother by the fire telling stories to her grandchildren, or the elder who remembered every water source for 50 miles, or the toolmaker whose hands had shaped 1,000 spear points. These weren't rare miracles, they were normal. Look at all the clues together: Kaspari and Lee's bones, Gervin and Kaplan's numbers, and Hawke's work with the Hadza. Different clues, same truth. Long life is not something modern medicine invented. It's a feature that evolution built into us long before the first hospital, the first vaccine, or the first pill. We didn't invent old age. We just forgot our ancestors already had it. And that's the reason any of us are here to ask this question at all.